Good morning. It is time for your Monday market moment. And my name is Jason Allen. I am a real estate professional based in Palm Springs, California. I cover the entire Coachella Valley. My client base tends to skew towards those 55 and older, although I do assist all people in all age groups, all economic backgrounds. It just turns out that, like me, I tend to attract and work well with clients that are mature. And that includes those that, let's say, are upsizing, downsizing, uh, considering a sale and moving into a rental circumstance that is more full service, places like Revel in Palm Desert. So anyway, if you have any of those questions or concerns, don't hesitate to reach out to me. As I like to do, I'm going to share my screen. I actually am going to share it in a couple of different ways today. I'll start with the normal, which is for me to go here and look directly at sales over the last 30 days. Again, I'm focused on Palm Desert today, and I start with single family homes. So let me run through these numbers. I'll show you a chart, and then I have one other chart that I want to address. So unit sales, 96. That's up from June of 22. So we are seeing a bit of a bounce in the market in some segments. Median sales price is also up. Median, as I always say, is the house that's sold in the middle. Half of the house is sold above that, half of the house is sold below that in terms of this price. Inventory is down a tick. We're at 156 homes, not a lot in the grand scheme of things. So these 96 sales chose from inventory roughly at 156. And that's at all price points. So that would suggest maybe at the 500 to 600,000, there's maybe, I don't know, 20. I'm making it up, but you get the idea. Days on market is longer. We are seeing everything taking longer. That's also indicative of our summer markets. Sales price is down slightly, not significantly, but down slightly. And those are units that have sold within the first 30 days typically. So we can compare this section, sales list price versus sales versus the original price. And in the case of sales versus original list price, sellers took at least one price reduction. And as if we scroll down here, we see that play out. 34.4% of the sales sold at or above list price. We have 2.5 months of inventory. And then we come down here and you see this 34 carry down here, 30 days, 34% sold within that first 30 days. 67% sold within 60 days, probably taking at least one price reduction. And then 75% sold over 90 days. This system doesn't even track specifically those sales that are taking more than 90 days, but we can see here 25% are. Things are taking longer. Let me bump over to condos very quickly, go through the same numbers. Unit sales 54, median sales price 477, inventory is up 5%. Again, you know, these 54 people were roughly choosing between 120. So they maybe had just a few houses to look at or condos to look at in their price segment. Days on market, 59 days, up from last year, makes sense. Sales unit price, 97.5. Sales to original price, 95.5. Condos, similar to what's happening in the single family dwelling market, 31% are going at or above sales price, and those are selling within the first 30 days. Month supply 2.5 roughly. Median sales price per square foot is down about 10%. 67%, 81%, 67 sold within 60 days, 81% sold within 90 days. And I go through these quickly. You can always pause your playback and then take a closer look at it. All right, I'm going to bump over to the chart I get from the good folks at Chicago Title. For houses, we are still in a seller's market. Still in a seller's market. I'm going to scroll down. This chart breaks things up by price point, which is good if you're a seller and you want to see where your property fits in the overall scheme of things. And then I can switch over to condos, and you can see we are still in a seller's market. That's driven not by price, but by inventory and how many months supply of inventory we have. If I bump over to that for a moment, I'm going to come back to that one. What does month supply mean? It means that if no new houses or condos came on the market, it would take about 2.5 months for all the people in the unit sales to gobble up this inventory. I mean, you can see it right here very quickly. The math is to divide unit sales by inventory, and you get this 2.47 for condos, and for single family dwellings, you get 2.57. And that's just in Palm Desert, mind you. It differs based on what city you're in within the Coachella Valley. Now, I want to dive into a couple of things. I'm first going to look at, let's see, let me look at this. This is a spreadsheet. I've essentially gone into our multiple listing service. I've searched specifically for Palm Desert, and I can go over here and show you my search criteria. And so I did not divide it into property subtype. If I were to do that, I can either choose single family dwellings, condominiums, and so forth. But for this overall impression, this is the area of the market that we're talking about. I want to go back over to the list for a moment. And if I start at the top, and it's numbered sequentially where you see the large hand, and then I can look over here at days on market, and I scroll down. If I scroll down, I go to 30, and then I look over here. Out of a total of 71, I now go back up here to 23 homes went into contract in the first 30 days. That's consistent with the other chart. Then if I look down and I go to 60 days, oh, look, 46. That's about another third. So, and then this is also just so important for people who are thinking about bringing their home on. Let's be frank. If you're selling your house, you have to clean it up. Every time someone's going to come walking through to see it, you want it to be show ready. So you've perhaps moved a lot of your personal possessions, aka clutter, to the garage, to a storage unit, gotten rid of things. But now you're down to just a few dishes that you use on a regular basis. Maybe you've put clothes away because your closet is so stuffed. You don't want your closet to present completely stuffed. True story, sidebar, true story. I have held open houses where the lister, the seller, has so much art on the walls, people coming through will literally say, well, there's nowhere to put my art. And I have to explain to them very gently, this art doesn't stay with the house. But that's the mindset that people enter a new home with. They don't know where their stuff is going to fit if a house is fully cluttered, stuff everywhere, closets jam full. Okay, let me back up. It's work to sell your house. This one at the very bottom, they were on the market 223 days. 223 days. The next closest was 150 days. I'm going to click through to that. I'm going to look at the detail. And if I look at, it's now active under contract. And I scroll down here, it was new last year, December 13th. Now, I am sure that when they launched that, they were convinced that 460,000 made sense. Somebody thought that made sense. They ended up taking 1, 2, 3 price reductions and spent over 6 months on the market to get to the price that it finally sold. That, my friends, is the hard way of doing things. And I mean, what is it? It's $60,000, $70,000 that they took off the top. So somehow this number, and then this number, and then this number was not the right number until they got here. And and let's also be clear that agents look at data, and a good agent will recommend a price based on the data. I'm making no commentary on that agent. That is not my point of this. I'm simply saying that markets change, and the market we were in December is very different from the market we were in June when this went into contract. One above it, 150 days on the market. And here we are new at 499.9. They took two price reductions and almost 6 months to get there. That's a lot of work. It's a lot of pain. It's a lot of challenge for the seller to stay motivated, for buyers to come and look at a house that's been on the market this long. And we have no idea where the price landed. We have no idea if they got multiple offers at that price. I'm going to assume they didn't, because if I go here, they were actually at this price since March. Now, let's compare that to, and make sure I want to do this correctly. I'm going to go to my list. I'm going to go to this house that was on the market for 3 days. Detail. Yeah. They hit the right price. They hit the right price. They got an offer right away. And my guess is they either got a great offer, a strong offer, which might mean cash, no contingencies, or rapid close, or maybe the seller can stay in the property for 20 or 30 days after the close of it. Whatever the incentives were, they took that offer, or they got multiple offers, and whatever the offer was the best price. Easier way to do it. And what we know when we go back to this chart, and it says we're in a seller's market for both condos and houses. We're in a seller's market. And we look at this and we say we had 96 sales with inventory at 156. That tells us there are people eager to buy property at every price point. Let me go over here to this chart again, and we scroll down and we see property being sold at every price level. So as a seller, you have to decide, am I going to make my life super hard over the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months, or am I going to sell my house and be done and move on to the next opportunity? And as a buyer, you have to decide, if I see a property priced right, am I going to try and nickel and dime it to get a couple of extra $1,000 off? Or am I going to offer the seller a little bit of an incentive to buy it right away? Maybe that's better terms, better price, who knows? These are the kinds of conversations you have with your good agent, whether it's me or someone else. I mean, read my reviews. I think I'm generally perceived as a good agent. I like to consider myself a good agent, but I'm not the only good agent in the Valley. There are lots. So have these conversations. Have these conversations with your agent of choice, whether you're buying or you're selling. That's it. You know how to reach me. You see my phone number scrolling across the bottom for those that are listening to this as a podcast. I am at 760-325-1900. Have a magnificent week, and I hope to see you again next week. Bye.